Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Legend of Korra news update video. And yeah, this is going to be the last news update video before Book 4 actually begins. So that means it's also going to be just the last one, basically kind of talking about, leading into Korra. These will still continue after Book 4 ends, covering stuff like comic news and merchandise news, video game news, that sort of stuff. All about Korra and Avatar. But yeah, I started these as a kind of lead in to book one, book two, and book three and stuff like that. Book four, and so the fact that the main reason I started these is kind of coming to an end is definitely interesting. But anyway, yeah, book four starts on Friday. That's the first thing to note. October 3rd, which is going to be a pretty insane day. Especially just kind of for me, just like in terms of TV shows, it's premiere of Korra Book 4, premiere of Season 3 of TMNT. So Nickelodeon, like October 3rd, is huge for them. Their two best shows airing, both premiering new seasons on the same day. That's great. Star Wars Rebels TV premiere, obviously I've watched the episodes already, but still, for that many shows to have their premiere on the same day, that's big. And Korra, I think, is going to come out very well from that, just because it's going to have an online premiere earlier on in the day, which is going to help it. It's going to get the jump on all of those other shows, just because there's going to be a TV premiere of Turtles. Star Wars Rebels is already kind of done a kind of online thing, and is doing the TV premiere later on, so that's big. And then Super Smash Brothers, Europe and America release, so huge stuff happening on October 3rd. It's going to be a big day. Yeah, news. News all relates to the episode that's going to air on Friday, and that is now titled, thanks to the clips we have, After All These Years. So that's the title of K401. And yeah, obviously it's the only episode that's airing on Friday. It hasn't really been communicated that well what exactly the premiere is, but just because of what IGN's article with the first clip reveals, it seems like this is the only episode that's airing on Friday, which in my mind is a good choice, that they're not kind of rushing through the book, even doing some fancy two-part premiere. They realize that this is the last book. They want to kind of take their time with it, one episode at a time, and I'd almost like it if they, even getting towards the end of the book, that they would do it one by one, so we don't get episode 12 and 13 at the same time. That we get 12, we have to wait a week for that last episode. I kind of hope that that's the case, just to get the full experience, which really has never been the case. I've always kind of done two-parters to the end books, but anyway, one episode, so that's good. That really helps stuff like the podcast, helps me in regards to organising reviews and stuff like that, so that's good. But the clips are the main bit to discuss. The first one is definitely more notable than the second one, and this is the IGN clip. It's the first 2 minutes of the first episode, which is what IGN say. Now, we don't know if this is going to be like a book 2 type thing, where obviously the clip that we got previewing book 2 was kind of the cut back and forth between, here's kind of what Asami's doing before the book, here's what Mako's doing, and you just kind of cover the main characters kind of after the 6-month time gap, and then you kind of see what's happening. But when you actually watch the episode, the first scene is not those scenes, but it's actually the spirits attacking the ship at sea. So maybe they'll do something like that with this, where they're the first 2 minutes of 3 years later, but we actually get 1 or 2 opening scenes featuring Korra leaving for the southern water tribe, maybe getting some healing and finding that it's going to take a longer time than expected, or something like that, or what. Again, this clip, the main thing I think it presents to me is that I still have no idea where the time skip is going to take place. If it takes place in the show, if there's 3 years ago, and then some line, and then cut to 3 years later, or what? Are we just going to jump in 3 years later and maybe flashback to a few scenes featuring Korra to show kind of where her recovery kind of came from and stuff like that, and stuff like that. Who knows? But yeah, that's definitely for me going to be one of the more interesting things, just because obviously the 2 clips that we've got so far, we haven't seen Korra yet in the kind of 3 years later thing, though obviously from the trailer we kind of know she's healed kind of at this point potentially. Um, so that's just an interesting thing that like our main character is just like we know kind of like the before and the after, but we don't have that moment of just like where the two kind of connect. So that's pretty cool. But the club itself, we get our basically usual kind of Shiro Shinobi narrated opening, which is really interesting actually. Just the fact that you know 3 years have passed. You know, he mentions that the Republic City misses their avatar Korra. She's been gone for 3 years. It's been a long time. So that in itself just is interesting that she hasn't returned to Republic City in 3 years. And so that clip that we got even before the trailer came out, saying that I'm only going to be gone for like a couple of weeks to kind of heal on my own. She left for 3 years and hasn't returned, and then you kind of wonder like, has she kept in touch with her friends or what's the deal there? Or maybe they've gone to visit her or something like that. But it presents the idea that maybe like Korra, like none of the main kind of characters has seen her in a long time. But who knows what way we're going to pick up Korra with in book four. And then we get stuff like humans and spirits are living peacefully together in Republic City, and I kind of like the way they've done this, even if I do want a little bit more explanation for how this happened. But they've just kind of decided to go with the fact that let's use this as a tourist attraction. It's the one place in the world right now that has spirit wilds, which are kind of like the spirit's home in the physical world, and it's also like this huge place of kind of culture just in general for the more modern Avatar world that we have in Korra. So the idea that they've kind of just marketed the city as all four nations living together, plus the spirit. It's the perfect kind of place of balance in the world. It's a really nice idea. Um, but I do want to know kind of who came up with the idea. When did it go from being these guys are a nuisance to we need to live peacefully? I hope it's the Airbenders, like the Tenzin's kind of training and their new goal to kind of help people all across the world. I hope that's maybe what's promoted this, and that like through like Janora and people like that, people have realized that the spirits aren't such a bad thing, and stuff like that. But even then, you still wonder like, okay, they're living peacefully together, but like what happens like when there are kind of unruly spirits in the city? Like, do the police officers like arrest the spirits, or how does that work? Like, is there a concept of law about spirits and stuff like that? I doubt they'll address that, but still, it'd be pretty cool to see. But we see Gamu for the first time since book one, which was really nice to see. He's perfectly fine with the spirits. That's really nice. The city, which is the first place that Korra goes to in Republic City, the park. That's now named after her. It's Avatar Korra Park, and she has her own statue in there, which I think is perfect. And what's even more perfect is that the statue, the pose that Korra is the pose that she's in the opening, when she's kind of standing in front of the Avatar Aang statue. It's that kind of like step forward kind of pose. That's really nice as well. And then the actual kind of post opening kind of crawl scene is Asami and Raiko basically presenting the new kind of main Republic City terminal for like I assume it's a whatever train station. Maybe the new magnetic trains are up and running. We sort of see them in the trailer, and obviously they were referenced in book 3. Maybe Republic City has them now, and Asami has helped with that. Maybe Varric's also helped, but we're not sure. Either way, it seems Republic City is doing a very good job. Asami is now full on, businesswoman, successful, ribbon cutting event. And then we get the reveal of who this mysterious guy in the green outfit is in the trailers that Maka's defending, and that is the Earth Prince Wu. We don't know how it's spelled. I assume it's just WU, and yeah, we don't know if he's Hu Ting's son or what. I assume it would have to be, and maybe she's just like super secretive about that sort of thing, and he was maybe too young back then, because obviously like it's hard to kind of tell his age just because I assume he seems a lot younger than I suppose Asami, who's in this clip will be like 22. So I definitely think he seems a lot younger, and obviously just by the way she reacts to him, she's definitely like encountered him before, and kind of knows that he's not very likable, which maybe adds to the whole idea that he is Hu Ting's son, and that people instantly dislike him, but for kind of different reasons, I suppose. This is kind of more for just like, really, you think that's a good way to talk to girls and stuff like that, rather than like Hu Ting is just like, I'm a tyrannical queen type thing. But yeah, he seems really kind of like, look, I'm the prince to be, I'm going to use this to my advantage. And you sort of wonder, like, 3 years, like, has it taken that long to find this guy? Does he have to wait until he's like a certain age for him to actually take the throne? What's happened in those 3 years? It presents a lot of questions straight away. But yeah, we see a little bit of Mako as well. And I assume the scene cuts away just before you kind of get like a full-on interaction between Mako and Asami to see kind of what the whole Team Avatar group dynamic is. And obviously, like, Bolin's not there. I assume the immediate scene after this maybe catches up with Bolin, and then Korra, or something like that. But the other clip that we got just a few minutes, about an hour or two ago, is Kai and Opal in their on their I assume it's on Lefty actually. I assume this would have to be Lefty, and the two of them obviously see some criminals stealing from people, I think in the Earth Kingdom, and they just jump off, wingsuits open, glide down, stop their getaway car, and basically tie these guys up and arrest them and say, you know, like, the airbenders are here. So this is our first kind of scene, seeing basically the airbending kind of Jedi Knight-esque kind of thing in action. So that was nice to see. But obviously it was more of an action scene rather than like a character-focused scene. Definitely the voice actor for Kai, I think it's, oh, what's his name, Skylar something or other, definitely has kind of, you know, like, done a little bit more of a deep voice, so you can tell that you know, he was like 11, 12, and now he's like 14, 15 kind of age, so that's interesting. And I suppose that one thing you kind of wonder is, like, why was he not teamed up with Jinora in this scene? Or does Jinora have an even more important role since she's another master airbender and is playing some other role? You kind of wonder about the Kai-Jinora relationship and what exactly is going to happen there, but I assume they'll have scenes together, hopefully. But yeah, the overall, you know, Nickelodeon have done a good job at promoting Book 4 so far. Obviously, like, it's hard to know, like, is it a good idea for them to promote on their kind of on their channel that the show is premiering online, or just leave it online? I assume they're doing a good job. Reason, like, them, obviously they gave the first clip to IGN, which was good, and then they just put one up on Nick.com, and obviously the book's coming out Friday. So I think it's been okay build up, and I'm just really excited for Book 4, which maybe it wasn't as much just immediately after Book 3, just because everything was happening so quickly, and I feel like I didn't have enough time to really, like, get my thoughts together just on, like, what I thought of Book 3, and all of a sudden Book 4 was coming, and it felt like rushed. But once that, like, trailer came in, I was just like, okay, I need to see this now, and I'm kind of now super glad that we don't have to wait too long. So very eager for Friday, and of course the review will be going up immediately on Friday. Basically, as soon as I watch the episode, I'll get in front of the camera, record it. So look out for that on Friday. So thanks for watching this video, and bye.